here with Jim and with Randy to say a few words about Marshall. I got a little bit different slant on this. They're going to talk about all the camping, all the stories about camping. But there's another side of Marshall that most people didn't really know about. Okay, the practical joker. But as Monsignor referred to, he was a believer. He was a believer. And in late 1990s, there's a religious emblem for scouting called the Ad Altare Dei, to the altar of God. We hadn't taught that in years. And he and I looked at each other and said, why not now? I know Norm was involved with this. A number of people were involved with getting people. Teaches young men about the 7 commandments. And to this day, some of the handouts that we use are ones that Marshall wrote up. I mean, they're that good, and we continue to use those. He was recognized for all of this too, because we would offer this program every year for Catholic young men. He was recognized because he earned from the district his Bronze Pelican, and I think that might be over there. He was also awarded from a district level the St. George Medal. And I was honored to be able to present that with him and also be presented with it too, so it's quite an honor. But that's part of Marshall you really don't see. His religious education, being a believer, he wanted to pass that on. There's another part about Marshall too. As Jim was saying, he's really committed to the youth. And he believed that youth should always be recognized. So he and Jim when we formed a troop back in 1995, and I was the only one that helped out forming the troop. I had kids, so I had a different perspective. He said, wouldn't it be really good for those in leadership positions to get something? Yeah, besides a certificate, sure. So he and Jim started, and they passed off relatively 18 months later, camp chairs. We have built for every senior patrol leader, every Eagle Scout, a camp chair. These come apart. They transport well in schools, everything else. There are more of these chairs in college dorm rooms than you can imagine. These things are prized. Now, we have a court of honor tonight. There's a young man that's going to get his. He doesn't know it yet. Now, I have to admit, the ones that Marshall worked up were intricate. They were hand carved. They were hand painted. You know, after you do about 80 of these, you really can't do that. So I've had to resort to just letters and polyurethaning them over. But I mean, that's a thing that he kind of started. Says, let's recognize the youth. Let's recognize what they do. So Dawson's going to get his tonight at the court. So we'll have that one together. And Jim picked up on a point. He would always make something kind of joke, and he would never let you down. He would never let you forget it. Now, I don't know how many times you guys went to Russia. How many times did you guys go to Russia? Okay. He was proud of going to a tour and learning Russian, and that's great. And he picked on me because I grew up speaking Czech. Now, after 45 years, you don't use it, you lose it. I've lost just about all of it. But he would come up and say something in Russian, and I'd go, nah, okay, nah. He would never, ever let that go. He was so proud of all that. And I have to admit that, he stayed with it. He still practiced it on me. And I responded poorly. So my friend, I just want to say, Večný pokoj i do svidania.